As a lot of you know, if you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that it was in high school when I decided I wanted to start bodybuilding. I wanted to get bigger, I wanted to be more respected, like I wanted to be more attractive to girls. And that's primarily the reason why I wanted to start doing that. But I wasn't like very secretive about my goals or about like what I wanted to do. So obviously, I I told my family about it, and when I told them, it was kind of like at least with my mom and my sister, it was like, oh, nice. Like you kind of could tell back then, like they didn't really believe that I was gonna carry through with it. Like they thought like it was a cool idea. They were happy for me that I was gonna start doing that, but like they didn't think really anything was gonna come of it. And my dad, like in most situations, and in 99% of the situations in my life, he's been like my biggest supporter. I could always go to him for advice. I could always like go to him when I needed help, or I like was in trouble in life, or I needed like somebody to talk to. My dad's just kind of been my rock in that way. But there were certain things with my father that he always wanted to keep things realistic with me. Like I was in middle school and I had this like dream that I was gonna be a famous actor and like act in movies and stuff. And I could kind of always tell he didn't really see that as like a realistic goal because, and I can't really blame him for that. It's just kind of like his generation and like where the time he was raised in. It was all about like getting a stable career, like staying in that career for like 30 years, retiring, just like it's all about like stability. So I couldn't really blame him for him having that kind of. It was never really said to me like you're not going to be a famous actor, and you're not going to like live that dream. Because he would like take me to acting classes and stuff where like I would meet people and they would do like when they were like you know it was like little like acting exercises and stuff I would do with them, and like I would like do the school play and stuff, but like I never got like a good role. I think in I think in a couple of the plays like I was just animals in the plays. Like I literally got a role to be like a townsperson and a wolf in one of the plays. And in a play in middle school, I was literally just like a monkey. I was like monkey number three. So like you could tell how amazing my acting career was going at that point. And I think like maybe my father would have taken me more seriously when I came to him and or I expressed that desire if I was like getting the lead roles in plays and I was like a very outward person and very like extroverted and like making people laugh all around me. But in some of my other videos, I've explained that that's not the kind of person I was. I was more of an introvert. Like I had my close knit group of friends, but aside from that, like I was very like I was very into my group of friends and had like a more dry sense of humor. So I wasn't like very outgoing and like very much of like a star, like a child star back then. Like the people that got like the big roles in the plays were like kids in my grade who were like known for like being like very funny and like looked up to in that regard. So when I told my dad that I was going to start weightlifting and I wanted to get bigger, he wanted to keep things realistic for me because like he cared about me and he wanted to like I know it was all in good intentions. Like he just wanted to keep me grounded. He didn't want me to get my hopes up that I was gonna like get some Arnold Schwarzenegger physique, and like just blow up and be this massive guy. But he pretty much told me like when I told him what I was gonna start doing, because I think I asked him to buy me like protein powder, or something. Because like at that point, I was in high school. I'd had a couple of jobs, and we all kind of like used the same home Amazon account. And I wouldn't just go on there and like just buy shit when I wanted it. I would do the respectful thing because like it was my dad's money, and I would go and ask him like, "Hey, do you mind if I buy some protein powder? I'm gonna start, weightlifting and trying to get bigger." And he kind of thought about it for a second. He's like, "Yeah, yeah," and like he didn't have a problem with me buying that, but he's like, "But I just want you to know, Michael, that like I don't. You're never gonna." He told me, "You're never gonna be big." Like when I was in high school, I tried to do the same thing. I tried to do weightlifting and the protein powder and all that, and all it ever did was make me shit. And so I just don't want you to go into it and like think that you're gonna, get big. You're not gonna be like that. Like you don't. He pretty much told me like you don't have the genetics for it, and that I was always gonna be like the skinny guy, and that's just kind of how it was gonna be. And my dad was like, when you're a kid, like even in high school and like middle school and all that, like you're as a man, like your father, if he's been attentive and like if he was the way he was to me, like my father was my hero. Like he knew everything, and like I would always go to him for advice and everything. So I kind of treated his word as gospel up until that point. And there was a moment, just a fleeting moment, like in that conversation with him, where it was kind of like I kind of resigned myself to like it was like a second, like I resigned myself to just being the skinny guy. But then after that, there was a feeling of like, no, fuck you. Like I'm gonna rise above that. I'm gonna do. It's from like the Spider-Man movie. I'm gonna do my own thing. So that's kind of when I decided like I was gonna buy the protein powder. I was gonna start training, and I was gonna like do my absolute best to defy that, and like despite other people's opinions and despite my crappy genetics, to try to make something more of myself. So I kind of like I'm glad that he didn't believe that I was going to be able to do it, because oftentimes you find that people's words, when people don't believe in you, or when people say something like you're not going to be able to do something, or when you're made fun of for something, you really can efficiently turn that around and use it for the benefit of yourself. Like, and this kind of goes into, I always would try to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I went from, when I started training, I was about 150 pounds. So I was a really skinny guy. I was like 150 pounds, while I was like probably coming up on 6 foot. Now I'm 6'1", but like back then I was probably like 5'11", maybe 6 foot. So I didn't have like too much growing left height wise to do, but I really like bulked up width wise. So I went from 150 pounds to like I ended up like through college and everything. Like I bulked. I like perma bulked. Like I was obsessed with getting bigger and getting more muscle, getting stronger, and to my like to a flaw almost, like not in a good way. Like I went from 150 over the next, how much was it? I graduated in 2016, so over the next like 7 years, 8 years, I was just bulking. So in 7 years, 8 years, I went from 150 to about 230 pounds. And I remember, and this kind of goes into what I'm saying about like you can really turn people's words around to benefit you. So because of what my dad said, I was always obsessed with like getting bigger, getting bulkier, and like at the height of it, or at the like midpoint of it, where I wasn't like too fat yet. Like I would literally go to family gatherings and like people would like barely recognize me. Like I would walk in so much bulkier than I used to be. Like I used to be this little fucking string bean, and now I'm like over 200 pounds walking in there. People are like, "Whoa, Michael! Like, wow, you got really big. Like you're a monster now." And like hearing that from people that you haven't talked to in a while, like it emboldened me, and it felt fucking good to hear that from people, and to like hear how massive I got, and like, oh, like you should. And then people were telling me like you should be a personal trainer, like you should help people, like because you used to be so skinny, and like now you're so massive, like you should help people do the same thing that you did. um it felt good as shit to hear people say that. So it's like, why would I stop doing what I'm doing? Why would I not just keep bulking up and getting bigger? So like I continue to get bigger, I continue to get stronger, and it it had diminishing returns, right? So that was probably like when people were telling me like how massive I was. It was probably around like the 200 pound mark, 210. So I continued to bulk even more. I gained like 20 more pounds. I was eating like 4,000, like 300 calories a day or something like that, like every day for like probably like 6 months to like 8 months. I was eating that amount of calories. And this is while I was working at Ace Hardware. This was after I was done my job at the gym at Planet Fitness. I was working at an Ace Hardware. And my one good friend, Eric, was in the military at that time. He was in the army, and he was coming into town to visit for like a trip, I guess like a weekend. So he wanted to come see me because I'm one of his really good friends. So he drove over to Ace Hardware. It was towards the end of my shift. So, like, towards the end of my shift, I would go get my clothes from my car, and I would actually get changed to go to the gym at my job, and then, like, wait for like 5 minutes or so at the end of my shift, and then go clock out, head right to the gym after work. So, it was towards the end of my shift. Eric comes and chats with me for like 10 minutes. And since we were chatting and catching up, and I was asking him about the army and everything, I didn't get changed yet. So like I went into the bathroom real quick. I threw on my pants, and I wanted to kind of like show off, I guess, like how big I've gotten to him. So like I waited to change my shirt until I got back into that room he was in. And as I'm changing my shirt, he he's making a joke, but he kind of was like serious about it. So I'm taking off my shirt. I'm thinking to myself like, oh, he's gonna like tell me how big I am, and like he's gonna ask me like what I'm doing for the gym and everything. And he goes, "Whoa, Mike, you got fat. Look at you with those love handles." And I like freeze for like a second. I'm like, I'm not fat. Like, what do you mean I'm fat? Like, I like couldn't accept it. And like so I kind of laughed it off. Like I like talked with him more. Like I kind of just like went past it. And but in my head I'm like, did I actually get fat? Like, what's going on here? And it took like that comment for me to like do some like retrospective thinking and be like, well, I am kind of struggling to make a mile and a half run in like 13 minutes. Um, and he wasn't the only one that pointed it out either. My sister also pointed out, like, while I had had my shirt off, like, at home. and I was like getting changed from a shower, um, she mentioned how I got fatter too, in like a nicer way than Eric did. But now it was like two people telling me that I'd gained weight, and not in a good way. So that was actually what it was, those words that like kind of made me think a little bit, and like those, that criticism like kind of masked as a joke, that kind of made me like, it was the only thing that really made me like reconsider, and actually start to go on my first like cut. And after going on that cut, like my body composition like got better. I was able to make like, I was able to like more efficiently do my cardio. I just felt better overall. So like right now with my like most recent measurement, my weight's sitting at around like like almost 200 pounds. I'm like 199, 198. So you can only imagine how much more fat I would look with 30 more pounds on me right now. Um, it wouldn't be good. And it wasn't good back then. It didn't feel good. But it wasn't my realization that did that. Because, like, when you're training and you're, like, just doing your own thing and you're on an upward trend, it kind of, it takes a while. It takes, you don't just see the gradual little changes that happen day to day. You kind of got to, like, have a good slap in the face, like Eric gave me, or like see a picture of yourself like back then and a picture of you now. And like back then I wasn't big on like taking pictures of myself. I just wanted to like bulk up and then let kind of the in-person look of me kind of dictate like how people talk to me or treated me or whatever. So whether it be like somebody that doesn't believe in you, that you can't do it, or whether it's somebody that's like trying to give you kind of a wake up call and like has the balls to give you that wake up call, like take those words to heart. And in terms of people that don't believe you, like turn their words again, like make them eat their words, man. Like just fucking make them eat it. Like that's what I did for the past 10 years, and my dad, even though it like wasn't something that he said like maliciously, and it wasn't something he like said in a mean way to put me down, but he's told me in person that he's really proud of how much I've bulked up and built my body up. And he said like he's totally eaten his words from back then, and like and that I've just totally like defied my genetics. And that makes me really fucking happy to hear that like I took what he said to heart. I kept it in my heart, and I just like set out to prove him wrong. And I did it for myself, and all the good things that came along with it. The original intent of why I wanted to bodybuild was there, but now whatever my dad said kind of gave it that extra like layer. So whenever someone doesn't believe in you, just fucking make them eat their words. Just grind it out, like, and always keep what they say kind of in your heart. And every time you go to that gym, just like bring it out somehow. Just bring it out, and like kind of put that energy and that effort into those like working sets. And in terms of like, just take that rude wake up call for what it is, like with my situation with Eric, and start to ask yourself, like, if someone's like critiquing you, even if it's like in the form of a joke, even if it's like masked as like a funny thing, like, don't just let your pride like dictate your actions. Because if I did that, like, I would have just kept bulking. I would have said, "Fuck you!" Like, I'm not fat. Like, I'm just gonna keep going, and then I would have been in the 140s probably, and I probably would have been fat as shit. Probably eventually seen it, but then I'm like wasting time bulking unnecessarily for like something that I never needed to really do in the first place. So just take people's words to heart and just twist it in a way that can benefit you. If you want any of my help with like your training or your program or anything, I'm gonna be putting the links for my website in the description. You have it in you to be great, so don't let yourself down. Goodbye.